following program on Derana 24 is classified for general audience. It is intended for all ages. It contains little or no violence, no strong language, and little or no sexual dialogue or situations.
Good evening. You're joining the Business Best, a platform for the best in the business and an opportunity for you to connect with veterans and entrepreneurs from various industries. We are in a digital era and where everything is digitalized. The company we are introducing to you today redefines the way you do business digitally. Azend Tech. We have the co-founder, CEO, the board director, Rajive Silva with us. Rajive, a warm welcome to you. Thank you very much for being on our show despite all your busy schedules.
Good evening, Rukshi.
Good evening. So Rajive, let's start our chat with your introduction. But when I was going through your profile, I saw that you've been heading many companies like MIT, London Stock Exchange, and Informatics. Now you have your own baby here, Azend Tech. What made you make that move to start your own venture?
So just to correct you, I was one of the leadership team members in Millenniumite and LSEG, but I was the Chief Operating Officer for Informatics.
Okay.
So thereafter I started my venture. So there's an interesting story around as to why we started. So I've been in a few companies in the past. I've had about a 20-year career, which has been from companies like John Keel's, MS, Brandix, then Informatics, towards the latter part of my corporate life. I realized there was a bit of a gap in the industry. As a island nation, we've always struggled to kind of get highlighted globally, especially when you have a country like India right next door to us. So I always felt that the country needs to find a niche in what we do. If India is known as a country that has specialized in services, I felt a country like Sri Lanka should specialize in something else. So products obviously came to my mind, and having come from a company like Millennium IT and a few other companies where products were the DNA that all of us had,
Definitely.
I felt it was only natural that we kind of go on a journey that includes products as a strategy. So a few colleagues and I, we thought we'll embark on a new journey that focuses on a product strategy as opposed to a services strategy.
Okay. So that's the story behind Azend Tech. So it all started, and Azend Tech. Let's talk about Azend Tech now.
Right. So in 2019, when I left Informatics, I started a company called Innovation 360. Innovation 360 was the initial company that I started with a few colleagues that was focusing on product development. But as most companies would struggle at the beginning with capital, we kind of focused on cash flow using services. So as we got started, we had a few clients up front and a few overseas clients that allowed us a dollar income.
Okay.
But before too long, I think Demo was one of our clients at that time.
Okay.
They were interested in embarking on a digital journey on their own.
Okay.
So we were in talking terms, and I've always respected Demo as a blue chip company. The Pandit Gaze, who are the chairman as well as the group CEO.
Yes.
They were quite excited about joining hands with what we were doing. And so we embarked on a new joint venture, and they wanted us to kind of ensure that the initial strategy of focusing on products was kept as a priority. So we entered into a joint venture in 2021. It was the height of the pandemic as well.
Yes.
Not an easy period, right?
Yes, 2020
most companies were. It wasn't the best time to start a new company, right? Let alone, thinking about something. So we started this joint venture in 2021. But luckily, I think because we had a dollar income at that time with some overseas clients, mainly out of the US and Europe, we managed to somehow get through some of those challenges. In fact, we grew quite fast over that period, over the last 3 years. It's been 3 years, in fact, to for April this year, and we've grown up to about 80 people now, and we are 100% dollar earning at the moment in terms of our services. We got a few products that are kind of getting highlighted at the national level now as well. And I'm proud to say that during this period, we've not only looked after the people who's worked for us, but I think I can proudly say that we brought new dollars to the country, new clients that didn't even know where Sri Lanka was on a map earlier. And I think they're quite excited about continuing our journey on developing their products through us.
Okay, lovely. So as you gave the start to what you offer to the market, let's talk more about your solutions. So when I was going through your website, I saw you cater to many industries and sectors, various industries like education, agriculture, and even to HR business. Let's talk about these industries first and then about your solutions.
So, interesting, Rupshi, as I said at the beginning, I really want to focus on a product strategy. While services allowed us the cash flow to kind of reinvest in our products.
So, all these products were digital products, IT products.
That's right. So, we believe in a platform kind of an architecture for our products. Why platform architecture? Because it allows you to scale up. Though at the beginning there's a big investment, the moment if you have found the right kind of product that addresses a set of problems or one problem for that matter, it allows you to scale up if that actually gets traction in the market. So our focus was purely based on identifying those problems in the market, and during the pandemic, interestingly, whilst we are technology specialists, we were not much into certain other domains. We come from a fintech background, as I said, having worked for the companies like Millennium IT and LSEG. We wanted to kind of specialize in developing good products, so irrespective of what the industry was. So it's fair to say that we are industry agnostic. So during this period, agriculture was trending, as you know, during the pandemic. The country was
everyone was, even the domestic.
Absolutely, it was quite acute here in Sri Lanka if you were to compare it globally. So one thing that we realized was we got to get into the agriculture sector to try and help, what was
with your solutions.
Absolutely. So the problem that we all faced, we felt as a digital company, as a technology company, we might be able to give a solution. So we started with a basic problem that the industry was facing. How do we improve the yield and reduce cost? And try and reduce some human intervention. So we started with greenhouses. Luckily, we've identified a few greenhouses in Lindula, and that's in Noreli as well as in Dambulla.
That's one of your project highlights as well.
Absolutely, right? So we've covered close to about 40,000 square feet in those places, where we've allowed optimization of the yield and reduction in the cost. So we've
in
seen
terms
some electricity, water through automation. You're not anymore depending on someone to go and turn on and turn off the electricity or water or the fans.
So you have these robotic options all over the place, something like that.
So idea initially was for us to start with the immediate problem that the farmers were facing, which was to automate. But thereafter we fell in love with that because we've realized this is an industry that all of us are part of, because all of us enjoy the agricultural produce, right? Whether it's going to a 5-star restaurant or for our own basic needs. So we realized there's something here that we should do, and when we started researching more, we realized it's something that as a country we've not really focused much on, agri-tech. Being traditionally an agriculture country, it seemed natural for us to kind of embark on that journey. And given that we are generally, as an island nation, known to develop good quality products, I felt it was only natural for us to kind of marry into this industry and start on that journey. Since then, we made some steady progress. I wouldn't say that we've got to where we want to yet. We are self-sustained in terms of our investment because we've got a very stable business on the services front. We've also been recognized nationally as well. We won the Silva Award at NBQ USA, as well as we've been highlighted by certain other overseas associations for the kind of products that we're developing. And I feel that it's just the beginning of a nice long journey, and hopefully something that the entire country can be proud of. Because for me, building this product is something a bit more passionate now. Because whilst sometimes at the beginning you don't see the dollars coming in right at the beginning, but I think addressing those initial problems will allow us to kind of go on a longer term journey.
Definitely, globally you will be picked. I'm pretty sure of that.
I'm pretty sure we would, because we've already been highlighted in a couple of international forums. The World Agri-Tech Forum, kind of picked us as one of the up and coming startups. But I still strongly feel, as a country, I need more people who have a passion towards product development. It's not having, those early days, you're not going to have a lot of glory, right? It's going to be a lot of work at the beginning, but I think at the end of it, you'll most probably be satisfied, and there'll be some kind of self-fulfillment.
Definitely. So today we are in conversation with Azend Tech, and we have the CEO and Board Director Rajive Silva with us. And Azend Tech redefines the way you do business digitally. I will see you after this break. Welcome after the break, and you're with the Business Best, and we have Azend Tech, the CEO and Board Director Rajive Silva with us. Rajive, we were talking about the solutions you offer to the agri-business. Let's talk about your recruitment platform. You have developed this solution for to cater to the HR industry. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so again, this again came up during the pandemic because we were really struggling to recruit.
So everything
people.
was during the pandemic.
I guess we started during the pandemic,
yes,
right? And
which is
as I said at
seriously.
the beginning, it wasn't the best time for any company to start.
Yeah.
But we had started, I think, by that
I think
time.
it was worth taking that risk, I guess.
It was always, I mean, as they say, high risk, high reward, right? And we did take a risk, and there's never a perfect time for you to kind of embark on.
Did you have
plans.
a learning curve? Did you have a lead time?
Well, I guess the fact that I've been in the corporate sector for about 20 years helped, right? Having been in leadership teams, having seen how the big companies have gone through that evolutionary process, allowed me to have the confidence to know that I knew what I needed to do. And I guess, in a way, my upbringing as well, the IT, the finance combination kind of helped as well. So I've been involved in different areas. So I started off doing programming, but I quickly drifted into management. Perhaps I wouldn't have been a great coder, but I still feel I have a lot to offer in technology, so I've embraced that side. So for me, starting off as an entrepreneur later, identifying a few problems that are in the market, wasn't a big challenge, but the challenge is how I continue this.
Definitely.
Right? And the confidence that I had coming into the 2020s as an entrepreneur was useful for sure, because I had no regrets starting something at that time, and nothing ventured, nothing gained. So I realized after at that time, about 16 years or 17 years in the industry, right, I realized it's now or never.
Definitely.
So getting back to the careers platform,
Yes.
so during the pandemic, as I said, we were really struggling to recruit people. And one of the founders had a good idea. He said, why don't we look at building a platform to kind of serve our needs. There were a few platforms already in the market at that time, and some that been there for about 20 years now or more. But it did not really cater to our requirement in identifying the right people, the amount of time we took to identify the people. Even as an employee, a candidate, you're never confident of who's interested in you, what kind of job suits you. You just most probably use LinkedIn at most.
Yes.
But LinkedIn is
and
more a global platform, and then you have in Sri Lanka these other platforms. So it was mainly a way to solve a problem that we were facing, but we realized it could be a common thing for others as well. So whilst it started off as an internal platform for us to start using, we quickly commercialized it. We said, look, let's roll it out to other employers. Idea there was, during the pandemic, as you know, a lot of people lost their jobs. And
even the companies were downsizing.
They were downsizing, and jobs are very transactional.
Yes.
You have a job today, you don't have one tomorrow, then you're kind of on the lookout.
Yeah.
But we want to build careers for people. The difference is, when you have a career, irrespective of whether you lose a job today or not, tomorrow you're definitely going to find something else. May not be exactly the same as what you did, but using your skills and competencies, you still will be able to make some income. So that was the idea behind this. We thought during the pandemic, we are doing a national service as well by going out there, developing people to match the industries, and allowing the industry also to cut down on the time spent on identifying the right people. So we started very small with a basic, kind of a platform, but then we still, with the kind of people we have, we've started using machine learning. We are looking at certain algorithms that allow you to kind of do the matchmaking quite fast, allow the candidate to also identify who are the best employers that fits my kind of, expectations.
Requirements and qualifications.
And the employer to also eliminate the time being spent in going through hundreds and possibly hundreds of
CVs and shortlisting.
Right? Exactly.
And
and then the other challenge is, and there are some more features that are coming in, which will even allow overseas recruiters to directly recruit people in Sri Lanka without having to worry too much about intermediaries getting involved. Now, the idea behind this is to make sure that we build a workforce that also finds the right fit and stays with those companies for a long time rather than them trialing and moving from one place to the other.
Yes.
Because I'll touch on that a bit later, but it's very important that as a country, in IT, we don't have a big workforce, Rukshi. We've only got about 140,000 people. The demand is for about 200.
Let me interrupt you there, Rajive, because people study IT as a profession. I don't know. I mean, you will find number of IT degrees here in Sri Lanka, and you will see people doing IT and going abroad or working here in Sri Lanka. If you ask a person, they would say, I do this, I do that in IT. But still, you say that you don't have enough professionals or people who build IT as a career here in Sri Lanka.
That's right. So challenge there is because the demand is more than the supply at the moment, right? So if you look at the public universities as well as the private universities, the output that they give is not sufficient right now. There's a bigger demand, right?
Okay.
So it's important that we find other ways of building capacity in Sri Lanka. I think SLASCOM does a wonderful job. The member companies also doing their part to go out there and volunteer to kind of help build capacity. So I think that's a great initiative.
Okay.
So if you speak to SLASCOM, I know Jehan was here in one of your programs, and they are doing a fabulous job in
so both of you are members of SLASCOM.
So yes, he's the chairman of SLASCOM, and I'm one of the members.
Okay.
It's something we do simply to elevate the country's IT sector, the IT BPM sector, right? So, and I think it's very important that we spend time doing that as well, rather than just focusing on our companies alone, because companies need the people out there and the right type of people with the right attitude and values as well.
At the right time as well.
The right time, because see, for me to build a great company, respect the ideas if I don't have a good workforce, it's going to be a challenge.
Definitely.
And I think after the pandemic with this hybrid working environments, the ability to kind of keep people for long has also been a bit of a challenge, right? So careers in that way has actually helped us. Right, we've identified people from the industry that match our expectations, so that has kept our attrition low.
Okay.
And I want to kind of share that with other companies as well, right? Because I feel companies, one of the ways in which we can do that is because we have to look at values in people, not just their technical competencies. Now, we have about 600 companies in Sri Lanka who are doing IT. At least official stats show us that. Imagine startups, if we have to kind of have 1,000 startups in this country, if that's our ambition, all these startups would need people. And they are not going to be able to afford these, top dollar earning people in their companies. But if you have a good product idea, that can most probably one day be a unicorn product idea, you would need to have people who are passionate and committed and are reasonable enough to come in with a reasonable expectation and then grow with the company. What I've seen is sometimes you have people and for their own good reasons come in expecting that company to have already reached its destination, reached those goals, and expect those kind of immediate returns. So I think it's important that we build a culture that is conducive for us to kind of allow more startups to take more risks, build more products, and pretty sure at some point in the near future, if we have the right kind of attitude towards joining and supporting the startups, you'd see a few unicorn companies also emerging, right? And so careers, I believe, will allow some of these companies to identify talent that fits their expectations in terms of not just the technical competencies, but values as well. And at the same time, for employees to also make sure that they've joined the right kind of companies that reflect their values, right? Because if your values are a match, I think that will allow it to be a good marriage. At least I'm not thinking that people would stay on for a long time, but the attrition would definitely go down. And the time that it takes for you to recruit the right kind of candidate should also be lessened.
Definitely. So I think this is the true Azendian. Am I correct?
That's right.
The Azendian style.
Well, I think it's been interesting because sometimes when you want to reach out to your fellow colleagues, constituents in the company, it's something that just came up, I think, as Indians, and it's allowed us to kind of have a little identity for ourselves.
Definitely.
And we believe in always moving forward, irrespective of obstacles that are there. The pandemic was a good example. I think everybody came together. The ones who were there at the beginning really put their heart and soul into it. We got the support we needed from the respective people. So it's going to be a continuous journey for us, and something that we are really looking forward to, because as I said, we got an established business where we are doing work for clients overseas, developing products that are custom made for them, and whatever we make from that, we've been investing in our own suite of products.
Okay.
Gobi AI, as I said earlier, was one such product.
Yes.
Careers 360 is another product. We got one more in fintech, which is on risk management, where we work with banks in identifying, how to do IFRS 9 automation.
Okay.
So we are quite confident that our journey in developing products would yield results sooner than later for not only for us as a company, but the country as well. Because there is a bit of patriotism involved in doing this.
Yes.
Right? Because there has to be some purpose in all what we do. It's not just to kind of make some money. It's about, sharing it with others and making sure that we, elevate together and not leave anybody behind.
Definitely. How can they get in touch with you, Rajive?
So we have our website. They can go to azentech.com and reach out to us. Currently, we are having our presence in the US and Europe. I would love to look at other geographies as well. But right now, our focus is those two because at the end of the day, you need to also stay within your means. We don't have capacity that can handle multiple regions at the same time. But I think I'm quite confident the way we are growing, there'll be a lot of opportunities for others to come and join hands with us. And if you're someone who's passionate about developing products, building products, we'd love to hear from you. Because,
and developing a career as well.
And developing a career as well. Because
Building
I think we are looking at people who'd love to be part of a journey rather than trying to,
just earn something and...
Yeah, I think with all due respect to the people in this country, we are a resilient, a nation. I think this country has been lucky to have people like,
Definitely.
Who we have.
Yes.
We've withstood a pandemic, we withstood an economic downfall, and I think people themselves must congratulate themselves for having,
despite all the challenges they had.
People are the ones who did it. I think people deserve the credit for what where we are right now. People themselves, with the burden that they've undertaken and making sure that they contribute to the economy without waiting for someone to kind of give them something of a free meal.
Definitely. So thank you very much, Rajive. Thank you very much for being a part of our show today. And it was lovely having you.
Thank you for inviting me.
I wish you all the very best for all your future endeavors.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure, and thanks for inviting me. And I wish you all the best for the next
Thank you very much. So today we had Azend Tech, and we have the co-founder, CEO, board director Rajive Silva with us. And they redefine the way you do business digitally. If you couldn't watch this program, you can watch us on YouTube, youtube.com/Derana English. I will see you next week. Have a pleasant evening.